It's like this. Just to clarify the Inyona a little bit. Rahman does steht in Chassidus that this Havos is B'Keich HaMalchus. Means mitzad mitzad the tunu of itself, mitzad midis, which b'yachas le'inyanenu, that's mitzad the tunu of which is Gili Amar. So there's no space for a mitzias of a yesh. Mitzad the tunu of so the whole inyan of the nivra is behemshach to this galus of the mucker. It wouldn't be a gather of a yesh. That's in technicality that there should be a mitzvah, be mahavah, so that's not that could even be mitzad but the inyan of havos that there's space now. We mean yesh. We mean to say that there is the definition of the mitzvah is not that it's a chetimtze for this galus hamucker. The gather of rakia is that it's a rakia. That nekuda. So that's only mitzvah tzfiras hamachos, which there's a mucker for a nivra. There's a smagan for a nivra. But dugmas like in the mashal in the nefesh ha'adam keich hadibur, which the mucker for a zulas is dafka mitzvah b'chinas hadibur. The person is not Inyona of keich hadibur is not this galus hanefesh, but an esinas smakim to mitzvah shem mechutzimen. So there is an order for the be a nekuda of his havos, which the gather ayesh should be a mitzvah for himself, an inyan for himself, a property for himself. So that can't be mitzvah the tunu of That's because is this galus, the tunu of is this galus and this pashas hamakir. So the whole inyan of this havasayesh would be a pchina on this pashas hamakir. But the makir in some ways mispashas lamata mata, but there wouldn't be a mashmos to the mitzias of rakia. His definition wouldn't have been rakia. In order for it to be yesh, is after mitzad tfiras hamalchus. The Idach the Rebbe says the fact the etzem tnu of giving space for another mitzias that's mitzad tfiras hamalchus. The Idach what is malchus giving space to? We're dealing with being mahava yesh ma'ayin. So the nesinas makim liyesh, etzem tnu of nesinas makim liyesh, that's dafkim mitzat tfiras hamachos. But to create yesh ma'ayin, to take something to give the etzem tnu of giving of a nesinas makim to zulas, that's dafkim mitzat malchos. But to be mahava this type of zulas, to be mahava yesh ma'ayin, that helps nicht in of tfiras hamachos, because malchos is a tnu and seder shalshalos mitzad tziur mitzad mitzias. So the nivras which is mugder in the gedarim of ayin ve'efes. So mitzias yesh is an ayin ve'efes. You can't take something which, by definition, there is no concept of rakia mitzadat. Malchus is under the category is mitzad agdar of seder shlashos. Mitzad tfiras hamalchus, mitzias is a lukus, or something which is batas a lukus. There is no concept of reality. Malchus in Inyona is to be a market to give space for an other, but an other which exists. But to create from nothing an other, for that you need to have keich atzmos dafke. And that's mizbat in the fact that the keich atzmos is by idea So that's why malchus is mahave. Through that the malchus is miyuchad with yisaid with the which is l'maylim misferes malchus. That's in other words the nekuda the Rebbe is saying here is, which is really explained in the Maim in Tanya, not the way the Rebbe says it here, but the point is that the Sabbath is through the way is molbesh malchus. Why do you need Because this Sabbath is bekeich atzmos. And the keich atzmos is nimshach hamachos through That's even clearly the. So here, the way the Rebbe explains it here, why do you need tfiras hamachos? Why do you need to have keich atzmos? There's in in a lukus that is a makar lemitzias. Why do you need to have that malchus? You have a dafka with keich dafka with which is mulbash malchus, and the is dafka with keich because you need to have keich atzmos, and the keich atzmos is nimshach through dafka. Why do you need a Sabbath? So the beer in the Alter Rebbe says that in Tanya is because misat in mitzias matzmusa. That's why you need to have the din of keich atzmos. Here the Rebbe gives a different beer, because in order to mahava yesh ma'ayin is dafke mitzad atzmos seder himself, which is not mugder in the gedar of mitzias of ayin v'yesh. Mitzad malchus mitzad seder shtalshalos, which mitzad malchus is the gedar of ayin v'yesh. So mitzad the gedar of malchus rakia is an ayin, or the gedar of mitzias is the an emes, something which is connected to this truth. Stamazir rakia mitzad the gedarim of seder shtalshalos rakia is an ayin v'efes. So the fact that malchus is nisakim lezulas, but here we're not dealing with stam nisakim lezulas. To give a zulas which is an ayin a yesh, that's dafka mitzat keich atzmos, which is not mugder in the gedarim of ayin v'yesh. I'm saying be'efin klali, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya Yigar Zakedesh that this havos is idea the way the is mislabish in kelim, the is mislabish in malchus. And why do you need Because is bekeich atzmos, and the keich atzmos is nimshach through is mein amor, which is mein the keich atzmos is an Here the shad is what's the beer. And that's in other words, the way the Rebbe is touching here, what does it mean? The melech hay v'kayim. Sabbath is the malchus, but the way malchus is the way the is malubash malchus, which the is the tnu of gilit, the tnu of midas. And why do you need Because sof kosof, this Sabbath is dafke v'keich atzmos, which is nimshach through The beer, why you need etzem, is a different beer here than the way the Alter Rebbe says it in Tanya. There the beard is the Metzias Metzmus, and here the beard is because the etzem inin of Malchus, which is in Sinas Makam Liyesh, his Havos of Azulas, this Tnua, this Havos Azulas, the way it is in Malchus, could only come in Kechatzmus. Because you're being Mahava an ayin, making an ayin Liyesh, you're giving this in Asmakim. You're giving space to Metzias, which is etzem an ayin, and that you're giving space to, that you're being a Makar for, So for that, you need to have that Kechatzmus. So Malchus in Inyona is in Sinas Makam to Zulas. But in Sinas Makim, that an ayin should become a mitzvah, that's dafke kechatzmus. And the Rebbe says, lefizeh, once you understand, it means there's two shlavim here. First, you understand it's the fact that first you understand that in order to be mahava, you need dafke sveras malchus. The fact that there's in Sinas Makim liyesh, you're giving space to mitzvah, is dafke sveras malchus. Then you come to the akara, but he's giving space to what have mitzvahs. He's being mahava. He's giving sismagim to mitzvahs, which be'etzim is einay, which doesn't have the alulis to exist. In order for that to be, is dafka mitzat ke'echatzmus. The mele versteht man that the eifan eis havos is an eifan that even mitzat the mahava there's not sismagim to the mitzvahs anivra. That's the cheshbon advar. But just to, maybe it will be clarified this way, maybe it will become more clear this way. Yeah, the R111, the Inyona, the citizen. But maybe just to clarify this, I think that's, even though it's not Izgetesh, but I think that's, the Rebbe says here in R110, the Rebbe says in the Pnim, even though it's Havas Mikeach HaMalchus, but HaKeach Shel Malchus Chadei Shesh Ma'ayin, Dafke Ma'as Mesir Sof, which is L'mayla Migeder Shachas Leilamis. So 110 there says Ani guys Kedesh Mechav Mehusi Vatzmusi that the Keich is Havas inside the Atzmus, but El Shabir Sham Be'efen Acher. So why is Taka use? Why is the have to give a different beer here? Why can't you use the same beer the way it is there? But there, what comes out from there is it's that the etzem inin of his havos yesh ma'ayin. The inin of malchus is misinas makom leyesh, being a makkah for his havos. The idea of being mahave, which idea of his havos is giving space for another mitzias, bringing another reality into being, not a spashta samakar. That's the tunu of malchus. Mitzad that inin, the author says mitzad that inin, you don't need that kekei. In Aderech you have the mashal and the Nevesh Adam. Dibur is a keich for a person to be misyachis and to give space for a mitzias shem b'chutz imenu. Al there's an alakus, there's a keich malchus, which in Inyona malchus is not this pashtus of alakus, but to be mahava mitzias, to be a makkah for a mitzias. To be a makkah for a mitzias. So for that you take the nit keichas. That's Inyona of malchus. Inyona, but do what they have in the mashal and the Nevesh Adam, keich hazrika or keich hadibur. Inyona is not this pashtus hanefesh, but being a makkah for a mitzias shem b'chutz. To affect something outside of you. You have the Inyona Lukus Gufa, you have the Inyona of Eir, which is Gilei HaMakar, is Pashas HaMakar, which said that there's no Sinas Makim Liyesh, and you have the Nekuda of Malchus, which is a Makar for Yesh. And it's said that Takis of Malchus is the Inyona of his Havos HaYesh, you don't need Keich HaAtzmus. Because there's another aspect in the Yesh, the aspect of Mitzvah Atzmusai, but that's not an aspect that's Neveah from Malchus. Malchus is the one that gives a space for a Mitzvah, for this Havos. For there to give space to be mahava a new being. Now there's another, and mitzad that we don't need kechatzmus. Malchus itself would be sufficient to be mitzad the in of malchus gufa can mahava zan yesh ma'im. But there's another aspect in the yesh that the yesh doesn't sense any hemshach to its makir. And mitzad that's not the nikud of the fact that the nivras are rekia. The fact that the rekia senses that as the fact that the rekia is azam esorzach, which has no hemshach tamakar at all, it's not margish that it comes from anywhere. It's margish that from zechalein for that you need of keich ha'atzmus. So, but what malchus contributes to this havos, what malchus gives, what does malchus give? The etzem tunah there's a gather of rekia. Without the rekia fitting mitzvah let's say the rekia would be aware of the fact that it has a makar, not mitzvah matzmus. Mitzad that you don't need kaviyachol don't need keich ha'atzmus. Because the lapel you're being mahava yesh, which is not margish at all, it's shaykhs titzmaker. Mitzad that you have to have the union of the kechatzmus. So then, voltaminish gahat, what the Rebbe is being mamshach further. So the fizevot is gekumen that mitzad malchus the niver has a titzmaker. Mitzad malchus itself, mitzad this havas the way it is mitzad the malchus, which is not the one that contributes the element of mitzvah matzmuse. Mitzad that in gufa malchus avada the niver mitzad atzme has no tfisas makim. Like I was saying last time, the even mitzad atzme has no potential to be here. But why is malchus mahava velt? Because malchus's inyan is expressed in the fact that he's mahava velt. Mitzad the keich mahava there's in the sinas makim to velt. You understand what I'm saying? From the Alter says in Tanya itself, we want to bring out here that even mitzad malchus, the fact that malchus is mahavev welt, it's not an eif, and that mitzad malchus is just the hishavos expresses him, or the hishavos has a chshivus tegabe malchus. Even mitzad tfiras malchus, the whole inyan of the hishavos is because that's the kavanas etzim, not because there's a chshivus to welt. Without Rebbe's word in Tanya itself, what's chishariz gebracht er sagt? What's the nekuda calls? Mitzad atzmos is not shaykh to say that mitzad atzmos welt has a chshivus, has a tfisas makim. And he's mahav the mitzvah welt because the mitzvah contains within itself some quality that the atzmos is expressed through this quality. So atzmos can't be organized because atzmos is built in mitzvah is not mugder in anything. It's not shaykh to say that a mitzvah has a chshivus legabi. Why is there atzmos is not there's no gather? Why is he being mahav? Because that's what he wants. So there's not he's not mahav because there's a chshivus to the mitzvah well. Because kach olaber tzayne, kach nesav. Not because there's a smakim to the mitzvah. But what the Rebbe wants to bring out here is that even that the ishavos, the way it is inside the malchus. Aziv what megatash in pashtus that there's kam Inyona with the ishavos. Mitzad there's an element in the ishavos that comes from mitzad atzmos, and mitzad that there's not smakim to the mitzvah well. But then there is other aspects in ishavos. The very fact that there's a world that was created. Not that they get them from Tfisim Atzmos. There's a Rekiya, there's Shemayim, and there's Eretz, that they have that there's a definition of Rekiya, and that Nekudah, there's a certain chshivus, because this Mitzias expresses the fact that the Eibush is Yachal Havis. This Mitzias expresses the Keich HaMalchus. Malchus is a certain inyan of being given as Nisvakim to Zulas, and that inyan is expressed through his Havis Yeshmayim. And a Shtetak in Chassidus, that this Havis, the way it is in Sadam Ali, is an Eifin that there's a Smakim to this Havis. But what the Rebbe is saying here is that Malchus is an inyan, Malchus can't kenish dadurch für sein inyan without Keich Atzmos. Malchus is inyan being in a sinas makom liyesh, giving this to another, being mahav another mitzias, not this pashas hamakir, giving space and bringing into being another, in order to bring into being another, which that's the tnu of Malchus. For that you need the Keich Atzmos. So the pnimius of Malchus is Keich Atzmos. So the fiza comes out that even mitzad malchus, there's no tfisas makim be'emes to the nefrayim. And the whole gather of this havas is what's the pshat that there is a metzias of a rekiah. It's not because there's a chshivus to the metzias of a rekiah. It's because that's the kavanah. Kach olaber tzayne there should be a metzias of a rekiah. Not that this metzias accomplishes anything. That's the kavanah sa'etzin, that there should be ishavas, and ishavas in a way that we're neisen makam liyesh. That's good for the kavanah. That's the ratzon etzin, that there should be ishavas in a even that's neisen makam liyesh. Not that mitzad malchus, by definition, there's a neisen makam liyesh. That's all mitzad the kavanah. And if it's mitzad the kavanah, it's not to do with the mitzias and nimtza. It's nothing to do with that velt has a chshivus. It's because kach oliver tzayne to give chshivus to velt. So mitzad that avana comes out that even mitzad the mahave, which is the chore neisen makam liyesh, Neisen makim to the gives it to something to the Mitzias Elamis. The whole Mitzias of Malchus is the Kavanah says. And even Mitzad Dadag is not Tfisas makim to the Yesh. If I stay the minion. Nicht das klar? Huh? Yeah. I don't know if it came out clear last time, but that's
the idea that it's giving us Shabbos.
Malchus is I'm saying the same with the Nefesh Adam. There's the Gilead Nefesh, and then there is the Tchuna, the Inyan of Dibur is not the Kav of Gilead Nefesh. Give space for another. Or being mahav, being a mucker for a mitzias, being mahav a mitzias. There's such a keich and a lakus, which Inyona is not this spash to some mucker, but giving it in a smagim to another mitzias. Giving space and value to another. This tnu gufa, giving value to another, which has been etzem and ayin, is dafke mikeich atzmus. So the pnimius of this tnu giving space to another, mana stammt es. Das stammt von atzmus itself. That means that mitzad atzmi is not shaykh to say that the nivra mitzad atzmi has a chshivus. If you're speaking about mitzad inside the tzid, without bringing in this nekudah that the Rebbe is explaining here is that malchus is inyan. Pnimiyusi of that inyan is mitzad the fact mitzad atzmi is which is not mugdal. Malchus is inyan. You say this is keich dibur. Dibur's inyan is the pnimiyusi mitzad that there's an etzem which is not mugdal, and that's how there could be malchus is tnua giving this makim liyesh. So lefize v'tanander taich in the fact that malchus is neisen makim and gives a chshivus to the yesh. We're giving space for another, but one havana giving space to another is that's Inyona of malchus. The kayach not to, even though the lukus is bleak vol, the kayach to be able to give space to another. That itself is in Elokus, which that in is expressed through Malchus. And according to that beer, this Havos has its tfisus makim inside Malchus, because Malchus' Inyan is expressed through his Havos. So the Havos is Chashivas. Vi brings Chareis this Inyan Elokus, that he's able to say leave his pashtus and to give space for another. The Inyan of Dibur, the Keich of Dibur, that's expressed in Malchus. How is that expressed in Malchus? Through his Havos. So his Havos has Chashivas, they got Malchus. Adem sagt the Rebbe does nicht das, because when you have Avana Primis, that the fact that Malchus is Nesim Makom Liyesh is Mitzad Atzmas Erin Sof, so Mitzad Atzmas is not trying to say that there's a certain Ilui, a certain Maila, a certain Shlemus of giving to Svakim to a Nivra, and that's expressed through Malchus. Atzmas is Shlelas Kol HaTorah. The fact that he's Nesim Makom Liyesh is not because there's a certain Maila which is expressed in that in, because that's his Kavanah, that's his Ratz. That's his Mufshit from all Mailas, from all Inyona. He's Shlelas Kol HaTorah. The fact that if he wants, he could be a Rekis, because that's what he wants. That's the Kavanah. So the fact that Malchus is Nesim Makom Liyesh gives tak a space to another, and that there's tak an Inyan of giving space to another, that's because that's the Kavanah Se'etzim. So by mitzvahs, if that's the Kavanah Se'etzim is that there should be a Nesinas Makom Liyesh. Then the Nesinas Makom Liyesh is not that there's a Chshivas to the Mitzvahs of Elamus. That's all a prat in being in the Hashlam of the Eibish's Kavanah. It's not, there's no Tfisas Makom to the Mitzvahs. This Gersa Kodesh, this is not going to bring out that the fact that Malchus' Tnua is Mitzad Kavanah. The Gersa Kodesh is there's the Inyan of his Havas in Elokus, and Mitzad that Inyan Taka is Makom Liyesh. And then there's an aspect of the Nivra which is Mitzvah Matzmos. Nachan Nekodah.
Because in Gersa it's not bringing out that the Zuhas is Ayin.
That it's not bringing out that the fact to be Mahavet to give. To make from an ayin a yesh is mitzat keichatzim. This is just the beer there. Beer is different beer. The etzim of his havas yesh ma'ayin. It doesn't speak in the Gersa Kodesh that for that you need have keichatzim. So mitzat the Gersa Kodesh, mitzat the beer there, the vart. Mitzat havas yesh ma'ayin. It can have mitzat Malchus itself. Mitzat tzitzim atzmus is dafke mekeichatzim. So mitzat was stammt is as a verta yesh, not mitzat atzmus. As a verta geder from Arakia. From wann stammt is mitzat Malchus. What is that Indian? What's the pshat that comes inside Malchus? Malchus is Inyona to express this aspect in Elokus, which could be Nesim Makom to another Metzias, and that's this Kayach is expressed through being Mahava. So according to that beer, this Havos has a Chshivas, because through this Malchus's Inyan is there's a certain Inyan of giving a Nesim Makom to another Metzias, Zulas, and this Inyan is expressed through his Havos. So his Havos has a Chshivas. Mash'inkin wants to say that in order that for Malchus's Inyan you have to have Keichatzim, not for another aspect in the Yesh you have to have Keichatzim. For Malchus's Inyan of his Havas Yesh Ma'ayin, his Inyan is to be Mahave, not a Spashas Hamakar, but to be Mahave, and for the Tnu of his Havas you have to have the Keichatzim, which is not Mugder. So the Tnuas of his Havas comes from an Etzim which is beyond Mitzias. So if this Havas comes from an Etzim which is beyond Mitzias, it's not shaykh to say that there's an Inyan Prati of giving the Sinas Makom Liyesh, and which that is expressed through his Havas. Aspas is beyond any Inyan. He's not Mugder. He's beyond the definition of Inyona. And mitzad him, what's the pshat that there's in the Makom Liyesh? Because that's his kavanah. Outside of his ratzim, there's no chshivas to the Inyan. There's no chshivas to any Inyona. There's his kavanah, and his kavanah is that there should be an Inyan of Nesinas Makom Liyesh. So there is an Inyan of Nesinas Makom Liyesh. But what's the premise of that? Not because it's an Inyan mitzad atzmeh, because that's the kavanah. So the fizik comes that even mitzad the makir there's not Nesinas Makom to the Mitzvahs.
Zuhas doesn't have to be Mitzvahs, doesn't have to come Mitzvahs and Matzmusa?
No. It's two separate Inyanim. What I'm saying, Matzmusa is that the Nivra doesn't sense, let's say, that it comes from anywhere. Let's say the Rakia would be Margish, Bekol Rega Berega, that the fact that it exists because the Abish is Mahavir. Why wouldn't it be Zulas? What is a Rakia? Rakia is a heaven. It's not a spashis of a Lukus. That's called a Zulas. It's another thing. The Abish is Mahavir, independent reality, not independent in its hergish, that it's not Margish, that it comes from anywhere. In what's its content? It's a Mitzvahs. That's what the Rebbe means over here, Yesh. Yesh means that you're creating a Rakia, which in Inyona is a content of Rakia, not a spashas of a Magar. Spashas of a Magar would mean the content is not Rakia, it's the spashas alien. The word over here, Yesh, is you create a new being. Even if this being is aware of the fact that it exists because the Eibush creates it. It has nothing to do. But what exists? That's the question. I'm saying just the Pashut Pshat. I don't know if it came out clear. means a bissel. You can't erase any recordings, but this is. Huh?
Saying the difference between the beer and the gas of Hachassidus.
That's what the Rebbe brings. I'm not saying this is what L'chora was.
Over there, it's not the part that's.
The Rebbe is not discussing this in over there. There's only since Smakim Mitzad Makar. Here the Rebbe wants to bring out that that this Havas is dafke bekeach, that the Malchus is Tnu is dafke Mitzad Pnim Mitzad Das Mitzad Insof, and that's mechazik the akara of that even Mitzad Makar there's no aspect in a Lukus which that aspect there's be'emes and there's a chshivus to Mitzvah Seilems. There is a Tnu of Malchus which is Neisen Makom Liesh, but that's because that's the Kavanah. That's the Ratzon Etzim. And there's no Tnu of Malchus being Neisen Makom Liesh outside that's the Kavanah Etzim, because Malchus is Tnu of Gufa is mechayiv the koyach of Asma Seir himself. Let me say Nachamol the Sif design. I'll read again from the Zomalene Nachamol Hasiris Hamachos because I don't know if the is coming as a klar. Good. I don't know if people listen or not, but Lepoil it's okay. I'm saying if I would be writing it, I would erase some lines from before. Since we're not writing it. Sfiras HaMalchus, Ibchines Al-Kus HaSheches Leil, Amr Zay Nachamol. Sfiras HaMalchus, from Bir Pirs Al-Pichsidus, we'll see the whole thing. Sfiras HaMalchus, Ibchines Al-Kus HaSheches Leilam. Yeah, that means Inyona is being a Makar Leilamis. L'chenim Sharas HaMenem V'Sheyacham B'Gidir HaMakam V'Azman. Sfiras, I say this Inyona is the Izgalus of Al-Kus, the Izgalus HaMakar. Yeah, that's what we said before. And they're not going into every part again, just the general Nakoda. So Malchus Inyona is a Makar for Zulas, we use the Mashal of Dibur, and Midas is Inyona is Spasha Se'elim. In Yichud Malchus Amay Seidu, Yileir in Sof Shalom Mailam Eilamis, with a Lukuz Mislabish Beilim. Zelmash Hazan Sham Vabchis Melech HaVekayim means Malchus Bekeach in other words. Why is it Dafka Malchus Bekeach It says, Chazar Sham Shabach Beker in Priya Chadasha. Chidish Shmein, Ime Yeshu Pel Bom Chinas Malchus Dafka means in order for this to be a Yesh. And it's in a Smakim Tametzi. It's not, you spoke about this, not Yesh as in sensing itself that it's undependent on Elokus, but Yesh as a content for itself, as an Inyan as a dover. So that's Dafkim said Malchus, which in Yonei Malchus is not to spash to Se'elyin, but to be a Makar, to be Mahavit. That's the Nekudah of Malchus. But because Akeach Shomachas Achad, this is what the Rebbe's word is. Akeach Shomachas Achad Yeshesh Ma'ayin, for Malchus to durch for Zayin Inyan is Dafkim Asma Seir himself. The Rebbe right away goes through beer. In other words, not in again, it's okay to state that the Havas is the Keich Atzmus, but doesn't state Mitziusim Atzmusi. Here the Rebbe wants to explain how Keich Shabbat Malchus Achad Yeshesh Ma'ayin Malchus is Inyan, which in Inyona is a Keich Lahaves. This Keich Lahaves is Dafka Matzim Seir himself. Means Malchus is Inyan, which in Inyona is a Keich Lachadish Yesh. That Inyan is Dafka Mitzad Atzmus. Why? Because which Mitzadat you have to have this Havas Adei which is connected to Atzmus. Why? Because Atzmus is in the begeder Shaychas Leilamis. B'meila eine bagdarim the ayin v'yesh. Lechem yichoti lasses se eine yeshne. Mashek in Malchus is mugder these agdaris. Ha'era Shaych Leilamis Malchus is mugder bagdaris. Which agdaris? That the nivrim said Atzmus is in eine. And what's considered a mitzias to Gabi Malchus? A lukus is a mitzias. A dovra batal a lukus is a mitzias. A rakia is nicht mitzias to Gabi Malchus. A Malchus is under these agdaris. There's Gidra Mitzias. I mean, said Gidra Mitzias, a Rakia exists nicht. So Avada Malchus is Lahaves, but in order for Malchus to durchführen sein in is Dafke Bekeach Atzmus. Sam, the Rebbe says, okay, the Akkaras and Atzmus, the Rebbe says two pratim. This we don't have to go through this again.
And they say it's talking about Malchus. It's talking about
Also Malchus. Ha'ira Shaykh Lemes, Avada Malchus. If Eira Shaykh Lemes is Mugdar Bagdar Seil, Malchus is in a lower darga in Ishtalshalos. In Ishtalshalos is Gdarim. What's considered Mitzias? Mitzad Gidra Mitzias, or Rakia is Ayin Vefes. Elokus is a Mitzias. I'm saying Elokus is the Emes. And what's Rakia? What's this content exactly? There was a glad this coming pratim. There were good lumbers and shifted and so now Birim Shulchis with Al Chagash Medan Ikshum Sabaz Kodas Odom Shachidish Shmaim Bo Mas Mesin of Shmalam Elam Sabir Bechel Kasech Medan Mechazek is a Kodesh Kol Elam is Mechashim Tom I have some once you understand that Malchus is the Inyan of his Havos. the keach lechadish yesh is after mitzad atzmos in sof. So now, versteht man that the fact that even though l'chule bechitzenius, in Inyona of malchus is lahavis. If in Inyona of malchus is lahavis, that means that mitzad the makir there's a chshivas tevelt. There's tefis makom tevelt. Because in Inyona of the makir is lahavis. But once you understand that in Inyona lahavis is that Inyan is mitzad the yechelis, the keach lahavis is mitzad atzmos. So the fact that in Inyona lahavis is b'keach ha'etzem. Mitzad the etzem there's no tefis makom tayesh. It's not an Inyan. The fact that atzmos yochel lahavis is not because his havas brings him out. Nothing brings him out. Because he's not mugdar. Can all sein. If he wants to give space, he can give space for something. Not because giving space is going to express him. It's not going to express his greatness. He's beyond the concept of greatness. It's because once you understand that, so mele versteht that it's mechazik that kore that his havos has no tfisas makom at all. Not only has no tfisas makom mitzad the yesh atzmai, even mitzad the makra mahava he's not an Inyan. The fact that there was nishava velt, it brings it out to the Eibusher's Amakra Yochel Havis. So them sagt nicht das. And that would be a mechazik the remes of Medani, because if even if by a nivri, even if you would have that kara brura that the yesh mitzad atzmi is ein vefes, but mitzad the makra mahava you say, it velt a mitzias, velt a zachshivus. So lepoil a person would there's a tefis makom to the mitzias of velt. So for him to wake up in the morning while he's within the category of Velt and to be margish that the fact that he exists is a pella, that his mitzvah is a chiddush, and the minute he sees a weakness, he senses his basic reality, which is ayin, and when he's refreshed, he senses the fact that the Eibush is creating him. A mitzvah would mean something to him. So dafke through that kar the beer of chelik asayt, which gives him that kar. Even inside the makra mahava isay, Velt is hotke mitzvah nicht. So Mele be'etzim are garnished. Even the Achreis Havas, he has no Inyan. It's only because that's the Eibusher's Ratz. So imagine someone, if Imitz are left with that Kare, that be'etzim, there is no Metzias at all. There's no Tisong at anything. There's only the Ratz and Atzmos. I eres da, das the Ratz and Atzmos. He says, it's Exer Sakosov. So the minute Exer Sakosov goes, in the Chabele Chidushi. You have in Gemara, yeah. It means in the Chabele Chidushi means that the Inyan be'etzim hatish kenart. We're Torah said it, but to take it further, kamenish nem weiter. In the Chavei Chiddush. So if someone it's a chiddush, you're not gonna build a whole klal around it because it's hepech haklal. So where the Torah says so, it is like that. Where the Torah doesn't say so, it's chazarnu to the Inyan the way it is mitzad atzmei. So al derech zeh, if even mitzad the makir, it's not that mitzad the makir velt hatis v'smakim. Just kach olebert sayne. So the world is always dependent on the ratzon. So the fact that he senses, that there's a hergish of mitzias is always a pella. It's always a davar neisiv. It's a chiddush. It's a chiddush every morning who remind himself tchias hamesim. Saying when you say in the chiddush, only where Torah really said the chiddush. The minute you don't have a hechrich for the chiddush, so you go back to the way things are mitzad the klolim. Mitzad the klolim, the Inyan is mufrach. So where the chiddush is not betaken, if a person gets weak right away, but that's totally also in the ayin ve'efes inside the makkah. I think this is the word. If his havos would be adis v'smachon sedatzma, and even if you can say the Alter Rebbe's beer of mitzvahs, but that's not mitzad malchus. That's another aspect in the nivra that stems from atzmas. But there's the tnu of his havos. There's the fact that it's a gevarna rakia, and the rakia has a tisus makom mitzad malchus. So if this havos would be mitzad malchus mitzad atzma, mikivan she'elim is tepsim makom.
You're talking about Sheikh Zaman, you're talking about
That's what
That's what you're saying.
That's what the Rebbe is a different beer than Iger Sakedus Machav.
You're saying that's what the Rebbe is trying to Shel. The Rebbe is not trying
Why
to
is
Shel
no, not here? Why the Rebbe? I'm saying why the Rebbe brought another beer to the fact that Malchus is V'keich Ha'etzim. Was ist schlechte Bier besteht in Iger Sakedish? In order 110. Here the Rebbe touches up. Kipiyim is havas elam says this for some Malchus mitzad atzma. Mikivan she'elam is tefsim makom legaba. Yeah, what does it mean? So then loy haisis chashus b'chol ikrim mitzuyusam. Yeah, let's see right away. Order 12, 112. Yeah, read derech mitzisacha. What does Alter Rebbe say in Tanya? We're learning in Tanya these days. It's Pal Gezach. What Alter Rebbe says in Tanya that the Alter Rebbe gives a whole arichis that yesh ma'ayin, the nivra mitzad atzmai has no hiyuli, no achshara to exist. Not like yesh miyesh, that the tzura that the person not machadish anything. The chaymer has within himself the potential to be a kelim. Mashegin yesh ma'ayin is hepech. It's kol shekol l'gav chaymer. If mayim lamet kechem is hepech teva mayim. Allah is kama an ayin should exist is hepech teva ayin. Is hepech teva ayin. As he says, it's aggressive pelle. It's a pelle. Who's the one that if you have the Eibusher can machen plan? The minute the kayach havos is nostalgic, the nivra mitzadatzme doesn't have the ability to exist. As he says, Alter Rebbe in Sheikh V'Emunah. Lefizah, Alter Rebbe says in Parag Gimel, Lefizah that you understand that the fact that the nivra exists is not because the nivra contains within itself the quality of existence. Not only it doesn't contain within itself the quality of existence, but the nivra is mushta legamri to exist. It's a pelle that he's in a state of existence. It's not the same way when Mayim is standing by Kriyas Yam. No one's going to say that the water of Kriyas Yam at that moment contained the ability to stand firmly. The water even then didn't contain the ability to stand firmly. They stood. It's a pelle. The Eibusher says a place, but Vasser Alein flist. So Alder said the yesh exists, but the fact that the nivra exists is a pelle. He doesn't have the ability to exist. So Mela Alter Rebbe says, verstehen that every nivra is nechshav kain ve'efes mamish. It's not a metzias b'chlal. That's the Alter Rebbe says. So the same way, no one's going to say that there's two things that flow: a wall of stone stands and water stands. It's nishdemis. Water never stands. That water stood because the Eibusher kept it up, not because water contains within itself the tchuna of kiyum. So the fact that it's that way is misyachish to the kayach, not to the mitzvahs. Oh, so the Alter Rebbe says later in Sheikh V'Emunah, we have the Tanya just kedai to see the or unless you went through it. I can't have sheyetzes and chita seichet. Not holding the just to see Perek Vav, just to have the. We learned this in Yeshivas Sheikh V'Emunah, no? In the American Yeshivas. Which year they learned it? Yeah, later I learned the first week. They learned the whole thing. I don't know. They learned the whole thing there. Shigimel, you learned the whole thing. The ganze Sach, or the first couple of prayers.
Actually, no exam.
Nazma Sitte, they don't learn Sheikh V'Emunah. You don't have a tiny right here, but the Hachassidus Durim then. No, I'm sure they have a bunch of tinies here.
Yeah.
It's also a shul here, besides for even if it would be a kehel, but I'm saying the shuls with a lot of tinies. So the Alter Rebbe said, but Alter Rebbe said, what's the pshat? What's the lashon in pasuk? It says the Alter Rebbe is coming to explain. It says, "V'yidati v'shez l'vavak Hashem l'kim Hashem l'vavak ein eid." Ein eid, it's eid means the kiyud of eid likra. Alter Rebbe attaches eid means a davar tafel. So Alter Rebbe says that the chiddush of the pasuk is that the world is not even a davar tafel. So what Gavena Asfar is davar tafel. Says the guf is tafel to the neshama. Can't say the guf is doesn't exist at all. The guf is not a sahaba from the neshama, but the guf is a tafel. The guf is a levush to the neshama. The whole life and the whole activity, everything comes from the whole mashmos comes from the neshama. So the guf is a tafel. Mashiach and Shemayim Ba'aretz is not even a tafel. So so this does state it. So the Tzaddik says that the world is not even a davar tafel, and not like the guf, which is a tafel. I mean, the guf is you can't say the guf is garnished, but it's a tafel to the neshama. Mashiach and the mitzias ha'elamis is not even a davar tafel. So Tzaddik says that's only the gabi b'chinas haseviv dafke. Means the fact that Alter Rebbe says at the end that ein eid, that's not mitzvah the beer of the Perek Beis and Perek Gimel, that this havos is tali and varavaye das wird nicht matzte gewen to say ein eid. Shel is l'chor is pashat nicht das. L'chor a guf is a neshama, the guf is tougher to the nefesh. Mashiach is havos the whole mitzvah stammt from the market. Under makers are garnished. So why is someone tzaddik say that the fact that the Rebbe says that the world is not even a tafel, dafka mitzat seivir, dafka mitzat the fact that the varavai is miyuchad in muhutzi vatzmus, that the Rebbe says there, that the varavai is miyuchad in muhutzi vatzmus. L'chorem said the etzem vart that the nivra is tali b'chol regen, the varavai, you understand that it's not a mitzvah at all, not even a mitzvah of tafel. So that's when someone tzaddik says there. And that's why he says that umas elam shkoi diyasam rak b'chinas amali, means the etzem inyan that this house is tali b'chol regen v'regen varavai, that a goy kenech verstehen. But a guy can verstehen that the world is not even a tafel. But the machshim is going to show him the ein sham. So the Rebbe said, "L'chura, the gamle shitasam, behechra sheyedesh kishbarchu beiris an Ephraim." And if he's beiris, so the chiddush tali in the mechadish. So what's the why? So it says vabiur, even though the Rebbe said, even though the nivra mitzad atzmei is ayin ve'efes, but But the way you understand what Pashtus is, the Nivra Takim Mitzad Atzmi doesn't exist. Like you say in the Marshal of Zika 7. The Evan Mitzad Atzmi can't fly. But Mitzad the Koyach, why Taga could a person throw the stone? Because Koyach HaZrika Inyona is Lizrek Evan. So Mitzad the Koyach, the Evan flying is a Davar Choshev, has a Chshivas. There's a Tfismakim, not that, so there's a certain Mitzias to the Mitzias Enivra. Not from its own point of view. But from the point of view of the market, there's a certain Nesinas Makim to this Mitzias. Because that expresses the market. So that's a Chshivas. So, Kimmich Erev Amali, so Inyona of Erev Amali Gufa is, what's the Inyona of Erev Amali? An area which Inyona is Lahavis. Malchus means that's Inyona is Lahavis. So his Inyona is expressed by being Mahavis. And why did he create such a world after? So later chayusa. Who dugmas bitla gufla nefesh. Means what Hachassidus means is, what's the pshat that the Umas Eilam understand that the yachas of the nivra to lukus is bedugmas to the yachas of a nefesh to the guf. So Hachassidus, we're not that they think that the world is only mekabel chayusa, not mekabel mitziyusa. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with something else. We're dealing with what the guf does get from the nefesh. What does the good get from the nefesh? It doesn't get its habas. It gets chayis. But in the aspect that the guf does receive from the nefesh, it's misyachas also to the guf. The guf is makabel chayis from the nefesh. The guf itself has no chayis at all. The guf is makabel chayis from the nefesh. But why is nefesh machayis dafke the guf? This guf and not another guf. Why is nefesh adam machayis guf adam? Because through this vehicle, his in is going to be expressed. So there's a tfismakim to the guf. Not that the guf has misad atzmi potential to live, but the fact that the nefesh is dafke machayis guf adam is because guf adam is a good levush to bring out his inyan. So meret legabe dem inyan which the mocker gives the makabel, there's a chshivas that tfismakim to the makabel. So al der ze von ze verstanden. Avada the niv. What does the dvar avai give the nivra? The guf hametzias. That's not even a question. Mashegen nefesh guf doesn't give guf hametzias. But the yachas of tafel, that the fact that the mocker is giving the nivra metzias is because it's worth giving the nivra this metzias, because that's going to bring out, it's going to express the inyan of malchus. So mitzadab bir kumteis that the velt hot epis at why is he mahavet this velt? He's mahavet velt with shiver akim, because that expresses epis a gewisser inyan. And why is he mahavet dafke shemayim mit eretz with all the protei advarim medaldi say this? Because that expresses certain tchunis in the mahavet. So this havos, and that's true that there's certain tchunis and malchus which are expressed in this havos. But sazeh what me verstanden that so the gabi malchus both has this makom. So them like the Rebbe Tzuda malchus meis makom liyesh because that's the kavanah sa'etzim. Varayid, that's we have the akara from the Rebbe says in the opinion. You have the akara opinion is that in order for malchus, so durch for zayin inyan is dafke mitzad keach ha'etzim. And the fact that malchus meis makom liyesh is not because mitzad atzmei malchus is a lower inyan alakus which is meis makom liyesh. Because that's the kavanah sa'etzim that there should be this aspect in alakus which is given us in his makom liyesh and should be a makar liyesh. But that's all because that's the kavanah sa'etzim. And since atzim is not mugder, so he could be in a form of being a makar too. But not because the inyan has a chshivas, because that's the kavanah. The mele, so feed that beer, there's no tfisas makom to the mitzvah sayesh.
It's both. It's not a steer. The side was not like that. The side was there. Says here. Both.
It was being masber as a matzedek. Why is it a steer?
Good.
The Rebbe Tzaddik redet nicht is them inyan that malchus. He's just saying the etzim inyan that dafke mitzat Seif if there's no tfisas makom. The Rebbe like Tzuda, and that's the premise of malchus. Okay, some Tzaddik is not going into that. Some Tzaddik is not discussing the word that the Rebbe says here that malchus, the fact that malchus is nesim makom liyesh, is because that's the kavanah and not because there's be'etzim tfisas makom. He's not discussing that. Some Tzaddik is saying that the tnu of heder tfisas makom is dafke mitzat Seif. That's the premise of Memali, he's not discussing. Here's the Rebbe saying, and that Seviv, Memali can't function without that Seviv. So that's the premise of Memali. That's what the Rebbe is adding here. But the Etzim Inyan, and this is Vadayin Tzarechia. This is Vadayin Tzarechia. I mean, the Rebbe would say that Vadayin Tzarechia not on the Etzim Inyan. The Etzim Inyan the Rebbe says in the Pnim, the Etzim Beer, and that's Vadayin Tzarechia, because in the Lashon of Tzaddik is mashma more that he's medamet to that the Umas Eilam will be medamet to nefesh v'guf, as if the Yachas is al derech nefesh v'guf. Not in the inyan that Rebbe is explaining here. In the lashon v'shtei dart in derech v'zesacha to be miyashiv the lashon. I think that's the.
It's more talking about nefesh v'guf.
Yeah, it's not the way that Rebbe is saying here is we're not. Yeah. And we can see here 111 again. So let's just see the whole pnim. So. Kibim es havasel says this is on so that's when kimen shelem steps makom legabel is khashas loy hoya az is khashas bkhol ikem tzius. Kim al derech v'dugmas mashan sham khayes aguf. Shigam bli a khayes shman sham yesh lemitzius. The Rebbe is dealing all within the aspect of khayes. Means within the why is the nevesh mechay the guf? Because the guf is the inyan. So al derech zeh why is the Eibishter mahavet dafke this rule? Because being mahavan elam as a chshivas. Kiven sheis havas im atzmas in sof baruch hu shein elam sif makom legabi klal. It's not trying to say there's a mitzvah legabi atzmas in sof. Hare ain't shum nesinas makom lechol Inyona. Means the whole there's no concept a mile of being mahavet. There's no such a mile. There's no mile of being mahava yesh ma'ayin either. Shta as a mile. Shta as a inyan. What's the Eibush is mahavet? Kach oliver tzeni. Not because there's such an inyan. The Eibush is a kol yachol, a canal. He's built in mugdar klal. Not that there's such an inyan. B'chol ikir mitzvusim is chadesh is ma'ir in sof baruch. Numbers in order 111. V'af shak. We saw this order or this?
Yes.
Okay, but that's not much in the Seif's Asius. We'll just see it again. Just. V'af shak kodesh achidish bam azin sirin sof is already muchrich from the etzem fact that the elements are mechudoshim ayin liyesh yesh ma'ayin. B'chol zol achri shak kodesh b'chidish yesh ma'ayin. Mevi'es ha'kodesh that this chidish bam azin sirin sof ha'kodesh zu lerech shemechazekes ha'kodesh b'chidish yesh ma'ayin el shemesifa b'gam oimek. Ki ha'kodesh b'chidish yesh ma'ayin shemitzad.
What's he saying that? What?
I'm saying, well, you understand that chidish yesh ma'ayin is dafke mitzad ha'atzmos. So now it's made of another emek in chidish yesh ma'ayin. Das wird nicht gehabt mit Zeit, wird Alter gesagt in Tanya. Weil Alter says in Tanya, Chidish Yesh Ma'ayin is Mitzad Malchus.
So he's saying after you understand that Tatzmus, then you understand that.
The Rebbe is saying a Chidish over here. The Chidish Yesh Ma'ayin is Dafke Mitzad Atzmus.
That's what Tatzmus is.
No. The Rebbe sagt, it's Mitzad Mitzvah Atzmus. Not the Etzem of Chidish Yesh Ma'ayin. Korah b'chidish yesh ma'ayin shemitzad atzma hi she'ein shum nisin makom liyesh mitzad atzma. Aval ein ze mechiyach adayin she'elin nisin nesmakim gam mitzad b'chinas ha'era mahava is. The Korah shechidish bo me'atzma se'erin sif shamal me'elim is hu b'lo the Korah shegam mitzad b'chinas ha'era mahava is. This is what the Rebbe is saying here. What is the Rebbe saying? The Korah shechidish bo me'atzma sif shamal me'elim is. What type of a Korah does the Yid come to? Shegam mitzad b'chinas ha'era mahava is. It means even mitzad ha'era mahava ein l'shum tzis ha'smakim. The Rebbe says in Tanya mitzad ha'era mahava there's tzis ha'smakim. There's another aspect in the yesh which comes from atzvos, nachazach. Here the Rebbe is saying that even mitzad era mahava is ancient tfisas makim. Lechin gam la'achrish all the lahava is means even la'achrish all the that there should be a tnu of his havos. That's all. That's his ratzon. It means this Indian guf is b'chol rega b'rega. The same way you're going to say the same way the fact that the nivra exists never relates to the nivra. You can't say that now the world became an existent being. The world has no metzias at all because the Eibush is ma'abed. Al derech the fact that there's an Inyan Elokus, which is Nesin Makam Liyesh. Is it because there's now a Dargan Elokus, which is Nesin Makam Liyesh, or that's all because that's his ratzon? That guf is b'derech yeshmayim. That's the ratzon. That's the kavanah sa'etzim. Not that there's now a Darga of Malchus, that which mitzad atzma is Nesin Makam Liyesh.
And that comes from the Hakara that is mitzvah. You see that from mitzvah.
How do you see that Chidish Yishmael is mitzad atzmos?
He said before, Simcha was saying that's mitzvah.
It's not about the fact that it's havas nizkei atzmos, not mitzad the etzem of Chidish Yishmael. Mitzad the vart. So mitzad that biur, what Malchus contributes to the yesh could be an eif in the Malchus nesim makom the yesh. Then there's what another aspect in the yesh, which is the fact that that the yesh doesn't sense its market. Another aspect, but that doesn't change that the fact that Malchus nesim makom the yesh is exerced akosov. Here the Rebbe is saying the fact that Malchus nesim makom liyesh be'etzem it's what's Malchus? Atzmos itself. Pnimiyus of Malchus. Atzmos itself is not nesim makom liyesh. Alepel Malchus is nesim makom liyesh because that's the kavanah sa'etzem. That it should be in such a tziyur.
Malchus yesh ma'ayin.
This havana of yesh ma'ayin that it's not that mitzad the Malchus is nesim makom liyesh. Not because we had a tzimtzum on the air and now it makes sense for it to be a darga that's nesim makom liyesh. It's because that malchus is an expression to the fact that the kavanah sa'etzem is to be a nesim makom liyesh. The Eibishter wants that not only there should be creation of a world, and the world should have a chashivus. That's what he wants. And how is it expressed to the fact that the world has a chashivus? That there's a dargan in a lukus, which is machshiv being mahava mitzias. But that dargan in a lukus is an expression of that aspect in atzmos, which wants to be Nisim Makom Liyesh. You understand what I'm saying?
How does
Yeah, just to bring up
the
this.
Hakara? You're saying Hakara Zuba, this Hakara comes through that.
Right.
That Hakara. You're saying
Right.
one comes through the other. How do you get from?
First, you have a Kara that the world is that Savas Yishma is B'Kei Chatzmus. Once you understand this B'Kei Chatzmus, verstehst du Malchus anders. And B'Meil is not Nisim Makom Liyesh. See, the Rebbe said, I mentioned it a couple of times, but the Rebbe said this, I think, nicht was ich always chazir, I remember exactly the Prati Advarim, but the point is that in Shulchan state that Shabbos you have to be nen inig Shabbos. You have to be nen Basar Shamin. So every Yid, a Yid which mitzad etzem tivoi, he wants to be misaneg alavaya. The Polish, you have one Yid, the state in Shulchan he has to be nen from Basar Shamin. He's not, he wants to be dovek telakus. So you have a Yid which his teva is, he's mechveis ibir gemacht nefesh bahamas, and mele, you have a Yid his home mitzias is, but bittul teratzin. So if the Eibusher wants you to have enough from Basar Shamin, he's going to have enough from Basar Shamin. Well, Pele is going to have enough from Basar Shamin. But not because there's a grubber mensch and he enjoys flesh, because his home mitzias is ratzin. That's a different Indian. So that, you can have someone having enough from Basar Shamin because he likes Basar Shamin. He has he's a leif gas, but not leif basar shamin, or he's enough in basar shamin because that's the kavanah, because his home mitzias is to be like the kavanah se'etzim, and the kavanah se'etzim is to enjoy fat meat. Let's say he's going to enjoy fat meat. As that's here, he's going to enjoy it, and not it's going to be a game. He's going to enjoy it because his mitzias is the way the Eibusher wants. But the minute the Eibusher wants, he's only going to enjoy it according to the ratzon. Nicht the ratzon, but he's not going to enjoy. He's not going to have any interest in it. Someone that his beteva hot lieb dort in flesh. So beteva to leave, it's not going to be behesem to the ratzon. So you have Malchus is Nesim Makom Liyesh. The question is, what's the pshat of Malchus Nesim Makom Liyesh? Because Malchus and Inyona is the Indian of Dibur, which is Nesim Makom Liyesh, or because that's the kavanah se'etzim that Elikus should be in a form of Nesim Makom Liyesh. The Rebbe saying that's the kavanah se'etzim. Lopoel mamish, Malchus is being machshiv to the rakia, but because and he wants that there should be a gather of mitzvahs of rakia, because he wants, not because the thing has a chshivus. So without this, L'poel mamish state in Chassidus that Malchus is Nesim Makom Liyesh. That in other words, the reason why mitzvah tzfiras Malchus is a Shabbos is because it's important for him to be a Shabbos. It's important for him to be a Shabbos. But the shaila is what? So the Chitzenish say mitzvah this darga, mitzvah the darga of Malchus means it's a lower darga in the Lukus. The Lukus is bitzumtzim and all the whatever the lower darga. Mitzvah that darga there's a tfisas makom to Shabbos. So then you say mitzvah tzimtzumim. This person likes meat. Mitzvah tzimtzumim there's a darga of Malchus which is Nesim Makom Liyesh. Or not mitzvah tzimtzumim, because his Indian is midei ratzon aliyah. There's no flesh and no this and no that. There's ratzon. There's no teva at all. There's what the Eibusher wants. If the Eibusher wants that he should be in the state, so he's going to have a leif gashmi, because that's the ratzon, not because his Indian is a feta heart. The play is going to contain this leif gas. I'm saying. So what gives us the akara that the fact that Malchus is Natzir and Sinas Makom Liyesh is not because it's Mahus. It's Mahus is Ratzna Elyon, and it's carrying out that tafkid of Ratzna Elyon of the Kavanah Se'etzim L'Hachshav V'Sayesh. That's expressed in the fact that he's Mahava Azam Esert Yesh, which Dafka B'Keich Atzmos L'Havas. Means Malchus's Inyan is an Inyan which Dafka Atzmos could do. So Be'etzim, what Malchus is Sinas Makom Liyesh is his Havas, the way it is Mitzad Etzim. You say in the Mashal that Chavis Lamer, this is be a wrong dogma. I'm just trying to say, just use it as an example. And Shchanarach steht Chavis nef Basar Shamin there. Let's say Mitzat Teva. This is a bad dogma. I'm just saying the Indian. But let's say Mitzat Teva Advarim, Mitzat Teva Adam. There's better dogmas. I'm just. But let's say Mitzat Teva Advarim. So it's better dogmas. But when I'm saying let's say Mitzat Teva Advarim. A person can't eat so much meat, let's say. Even I feel like grace about Taiva what nicht gegangen. But mit Shchonor doch etwas so a Yid that his mitzias is because Api Teva hat no, so then we'll have that Agbala. But if the whole Hano is because that's the Kavanah Se'etzim, so we'll have Hano the way the Etzim is Machayet Havano. That's I don't know, that's in the Hano will be nirgash that it's not Hano which stems from Teva. It's Hano because that's the Kavanah Se'etzim. It's a different type of Indian. Yeah, but it's both. It says, and this also brings from the Tzedek that Tzaddik was, I remember that someone Tzaddik says there that Tzaddik Gomer in his brain is Rich Malakus, but he says there that steht in Medrash that you have to say, person shouldn't say that I don't want to eat nevela, chaylev, the efshi. That was talking efshi. So some Tzaddik says that at Tzaddik Gomer steht in Chazal, the kavanah, the mitzvah is not that you shouldn't eat chaylev because you don't want it. Nish gamvenen, you're not supposed to steal because it should be most by you to steal. But not to eat chaylev or nevela or basar b'cholov, it's because that's the Eibishter wants. But etzim I would want it, you have a taiva for it, but that's the Eibishter wants. But mele hoter a taiva to essen basar b'cholov. Because the kavanah satayr is that this mitzvah should be done mitzad ratzon eli, not mitzad your mitzvahs. The mele hoter a taiva. But he has a taiva, not because someone has a taiva for chaylev because he's glad to mitzvahs. Or because the kavanah satayr is that this mitzvah should be done and demonstrate your bittul to Kabbalah sale. So, and his mitzias is leit vid Rebisher is mechayiv. So the poil hat a taivet to the shtikul chaylev. Talking about Tzaddik Gomer. He only has taivet to chaylev. To anything else which the kavanah satayr is not taivet to, he has no taivet to at all. Whatever, in order for the master, some Tzaddik says, but mitzad, even though the fact that he's misavel chaylev is mitzad, but mitzad that lupel mitzad that in your guf is betachas arichim from malakus. Because it's a leisase lechol chaylev. So the poil is a whole back and forth over there. The Rebbe brings it a couple of times.
So why is it only by chiluk?
No, I'm just saying it doesn't touch it up there. I'm saying there's a tzir of someone that the fact that it's efshi is because his mohus tzidvi, he doesn't have his own factor how his mitzias is his Indian the way it is v'apitated, that's the way he is. Apitated davs zayin that there should be efshi for chaylev. V'meila he has a type for chaylev. So we're talking about a tzaddik ayid, but the tzaddik says there that lepoil, in that aspect that he's misavel lechel is with tachlas harichah from malakus. This is cheshbein esra tzaddik gomer. The Alter Rebbe wrote a sefer shel tzaddikim state. The is bonusen for. Okay, the Hachassidus would be a nice ketta to see, but we don't have good. We're just bringing all this for him though. Anyways, you'll be mine. The Rebbe brings it a couple of times. This. Where did I bring it? The Rebbe brings the session with someone said the mitzvah that's in tachlas harichah from malakus. Anyways, good. Oh, so what does the Rebbe say weiter? So the beard in pshat gives the emek and the beard in emes. The beard in Seif gives the emek and the beard up in emes. But mele bo la koras ha'achdas ve'efen she'enet milvad. Achdas that there's no mitzvahs outside of a lakus. Mit dem akara that even mitzvah tzfiras hamalchus. Which b'chitzeni is tzfiras hamalchus is nesin makom liyesh. But now the premise of that is that's the kavanah says and mele comes to the whole deeper akara in achdus of a lakus that there's only one. There's no other mitzvahs outside of the Eibishter. Shekola elamis in ayin ve'efes mamash agabai kadosh baruch hu ve'inin nekreis b'shem klal afilu b'shem eidshu lashon tov. That lashon. Kim mitzvahs nicht. Kiven sheken ein nigesh as lebepshitas shechayis psari and ishu mitzvahs klal. Gam le mitzvahs b'derech tofel. Mitzvahs, what is faran, what exists, what is existence, is iskashus balakus. Anything which is not that, anything which is not that, mitzad naran chaye, which are dargis and mitzvahs. So, however much they're going to come to the extent of bitul ha'elamis, we're being mavat ha'elamis. According to this beer, lechatchila there's nothing. There's the kavanah sa'etzim. We're lechatchila not dealing with the mitzvahs to be mavat. There's the kavanah sa'etzim, and everything stems from there. Understand what the Rebbe is saying here? As you learn, there's atzmos. Mitzad machos, there's makam liyesh. Mitzad seir kolaman, there's bitul ha'elamis. Different tnuas and alakus. Saying, but once you understand that even that the tnuah of malchus, really it's an expression of the kavanah sa'etzim to give us in the smakim tevel. So there's kavanah sa'etzim to give us in the smakim tevel, and the kavanah and what's the kavanah sa'etzim to be shel. It's not there's no Inyan outside of that. So there's nothing. It's not a question. You don't have to be mevat lamitzias. Lechatchila there's only his ratzim. So that's you come to the emes hakar of Eden that there is nothing else besides for him. There isn't even anything which has to be cancelled, which has to be in his vatal. Lechatchila, everything is him. And the different aspects and modes that we see are all the kavanah sa'etzim that there should be this tnuah and yachas to the mitzias and that tnuah and yachas to the mitzias. So in a statement, there is an Inyan of blikvol. It's at blikvol, the world is very bottle. There's an Inyan of malchus, which is mahava the welt. And mitzad that darge, the world is kach v'kach. And so you said all those diagrams said blik vol and gvol. There's a mitzias. There's the mitzias is batal telikus. Mitzad atzmas, there's only him. There's no concept outside of him. There's no concept. There's him. And what is everything? His kavanah, his ratzon. There's nothing. It gives a deeper tfisa. It's not only that everything is batal telikus. The only mitzias is the kavanah al yein.
But even mitzad malchus is no.
Yeah. So what is malchus? Lepel malchus is nesim makam liyesh. Because that's the kavanah setzim. The Eibush is not le'enim mugdar klal. And if Oliver said it to yagiven a nesim makam tevelt. Al Onibert saying that should be a tnu of not to get of to be shayla the mitzias of. That's all the kavanah setzim. It's not that there's a madrega which mitzad the inin of blik vol velt is batal. There's no inin of blik vol. There's the kavanah setzim there should be inin of blik vol. There's no inin of blik vol as an inin for itself. There's no concept outside of the kavanah setzim. That's what the Rebbe is saying. So nothing ever happened outside of him. Even if you understand or you understand so there's bittul ilmus. Not that there's no concept outside of the etzim. There's concepts. Instead blik vol there's a concept of gvul. Gvul is batal. You can't say there's nothing. Only him. Mitzad atzmas there's nothing. There's no concept. There's no anything. There's nothing. The Rebbe is saying here, and nothing ever happened outside of that. Because what's malchus and what's seif kolam, that's all the kavanah se'etzim. Is al zayin azasert inin satzvet asert. So to begin with, nothing happened outside of it.
So there is something that says skasha silicus and it's not skasha silicus.
The kavanah is that it should be begilu. Say that the kavanah is that it should be begilu. The truth is that the pnimi sadvarim, everything is here with kavanah se'etzim. But there's a shtein beis galus.
So something that it's not begilu.
Chaim Sarim, someone that's living a perish 11 and eating flesh and enjoying himself. So I'm saying he's not pnimius behelim. He's also I'm saying there's when he realizes there's whole mitzvah is the kavanah se'etzim and whole face whatever he's gonna be misharis to the kavanah se'etzim. Good, so that's another idea. מהקורא זו שאין עד מלבדי, הרי פושט אצלי, שבקים ציווה הקדוש ברוך הוא, יאפשר לערי ואפילו לא כתופל שום תו ותחל זכר. זה דבר פושט בהם, ומקום צגן צטון dem Ebersh's Ratzen, there's no Metzias of Welt outside of Elokus. When you're doing the Ebersh's Ratzen, the Metzias is his Ratzen, there's no other Metzias. You don't matter of any other Indian outside of the Kavanah Se'etzim. Chol kim tzachlis mitzad Ratzen abirik, knal b'bir achziz v'chel gedrush medani. Das ist nicht gefasst der Inyona, was steht da. See, in a way, this nekuda that the nekuda of achdus is not that everything is batal telikus. To begin with, there's only kavanah se'etzim. You say avaya echad because there's elumis. The elumis are batal telikus, or all these type of yur. Or because lechatchila, whatever exists is the kavanah se'etzim. I'm saying it's a different.
So we're saying he's saying that that's why he's talking about Seif.
Where? Which are? Good. I'm saying what the Rebbe says here is not. There is a different word. He just in the Ari just bring the etzim Indian that we see that mitzad malchus mitzad asmet there's a tfis makom liyesh. Even if you say yesh ma'ayin, it's not shayla that mitzad the mokar there's a tfis makom liyesh. That's the Rebbe's bringing in the Ari. But the Pel what the Rebbe takes them what do we see from the fact that malchus mechadish the keichatz was that there's no tfis makom liyesh, and that's. Yeah, this is Inyona Mamukim. Mazan Sif Zayin, Sif Yud Zayin. What side of them? Yeah, about a permanent. Yeah, we were a little bit yesterday. So. How many more shiurim do we have before there's some camp? No, everybody stays here all summer. They all staying here. Some are staying here. Good. So Lamer Zayin, Sif Yud Zayin. Unless you want to take a break, I don't know. Let me say weiter. Beginnen say Chido. Liyesa atzmis eine sheleles is nefesh ruach neshama chaya. Kedushat Sifitzayin Yitzches is one Inyan, and then Yites Yitzchanayim. So maybe Sifitzayin Yitzches. I don't want to rush through, but the Inyonim, the Etzim Inyonim here, we've seen these before. The Etzim Rayenis that are here.